Today's topic is PDF watermarks. Hopefully everybody can see my screen, and I have a saved search using the advanced search capabilities of DDM to show me all of my workshop folders. The workshops that we've run historically are the category browser, non-access control or non-ownership access controls, importing data via CSV, the bulk editor and CAD rename tool, business units, color coding attributes, searching, the 2023.03 release, bill of materials and ERP interface, change management, the web client, the new CAD interface and search filters, email templates, CAD file version updater, and today's topic is watermarks. I've created a series of tasks which are the topics that I want to step through, so there are not many to go through today, and we're going to cover watermarks for documents, watermarks for drawings, setting up watermarks, and applying conditions to watermarks. Okay, as per usual, I've created a sample data set for this, and I've got them saved on my computer here as a category, so I can quickly jump to those particular saved files. Now I'm going to go back into this mode so I can maximize the preview area of my screen, so that as we start to look at these drawings and documents, we can see the watermarks more clearly in the preview pane. Right, so to begin with, for watermarks for documents, I have a document here that is a superseded document, and as you can see in my preview here window, I've got a PDF preview of that document. Now, DDM does not create PDFs of documents natively. We do create PDFs of drawings. If you want PDFs of documents, there is a tool available on the market called Folder Mill. If anybody wants information about Folder Mill, they can request it through Sandra. We do not sell or support Folder Mill, but DDM can communicate with it in order to use it to generate PDFs that we automatically bring back into DDM. So, this is the reason I have automatic PDFs for my documents. Now, this is a superseded document, so we can see at the top of the screen I've got a new issue 2 of my document, which is the latest issue, and the old issue 1, which is not the latest issue. The old issue is superseded, and I've applied watermarks to the superseded document. Now, quite clearly, I've applied a watermark that sits right in the middle of the screen with the status right across it in bold red, because I don't want people to use this. So all of these watermarks are configurable, so you will decide how you want to lay out your own watermarks based on what's applicable for your business. So for me, I've said I want it splashed across the middle diagonally, so it really stands out. What I also have here is I've also applied as a watermark the document number, the issue, and the status. So this information can be applied as intelligent text, taking it directly from the database. So once you've set this up, you don't have to edit and maintain this on every individual file. What you can also see on the left-hand side here is that I've also applied a watermark so that if anybody prints or exports this document, it will put the date, the time, and the user's email address on here. Again, this is all configurable, but clearly if you've got things lying around or that have been sent to people that are not the correct issue or the correct status or out of date, etc., it's very useful to know this. Watermarks are applied real time when you select to view a PDF or if you export the PDF. So just if I say I want to look at this released version of the document, you see here that I've got the same information across the bottom of the screen. What is the document number, what is the status, and what is the issue? and also the printed exported information up the left hand side, but I've changed the color to a less shocking grey, so it doesn't have to stand out and be quite so dominant. So just to make it a little bit more visually acceptable. If I say send to the Windows file system, again I want the PDF, and we say okay, you must specify a folder. So I'm going to put this in my can be deleted exported information, select and go. If I look in that folder on my computer, I have my PDF, and if I open with Chrome, this is the exported PDF, and as you can see that we've superimposed the watermarks on it. So it's not just when you view something, if you send it to somebody, the watermarks will also be there. Okay, so this is for documents, and we'll look at configuring that in a minute. I've got some examples of drawings, so I've got a selection of parts, and I've got the related drawings with them as well. These parts are from each of the different supported CAD applications so that nobody feels left out. We're going to begin with AutoCAD, and as we can see here, there is my preview of my AutoCAD drawing. It is a non-preferred drawing that is obsolete, and therefore the status on my drawing says obsolete, and I've included an additional comment that says do not use, again all configurable, and I've also put a comment across the bottom, this drawing is obsolete and should not be used. Okay, so you decide what you want the watermarks to be. My next example is a SolidWorks drawing that is currently work in progress. I've put a diagonal watermark right across it, and I've added in the status box work in progress, do not use. Okay, again, looking at this by status. If I look at a checked IronCAD drawing, again, so it's all relative to the status, but this time, because this drawing has been checked, I've also applied as a watermark the person that checked it and the date that it was checked. So again, this intelligent information can be extracted from the database and applied real time. Okay, very useful. I've only put it red so it stands out. Okay. If we go to a released drawing, okay, now at the moment this says this is a recommended drawing. This is a configuration option that I will show you a little bit later, so ignore this for now. But on this example, because the drawing is now being released, we see who checked it and who released it. Again, automatically applied intelligent text. Okay. Now, the condition is this is a recommended drawing. Now, this is a nonsense thing as an example, but essentially this drawing here, we have an attribute called preferred. If I edit this attribute that is currently yes, and I say this is now no, and apply my... So this is the bulk editor tool that we've covered on a previous workshop. This is now not a recommended drawing, and it's removed the comment across it. So I should have applied that condition the other way round because it would make more logical sense. But it's basically a condition on a watermark based on the population of an attribute, and we'll look at that later. So, under review, ask before using, etc., and obviously superseded. So all of the default states. Clearly, if you have different states that you've added to your own DDM implementation, then your watermarks can be based on your own states. Okay, so these are all of my examples. We're going to begin with documents. So if I just go back to our workshop project and bring this back and look at the actions. So we've looked at the examples for documents. Let's set that as complete. We've looked at the examples for drawings, and now we're going to look at how to set up the watermarks. Okay. So I'm going to log into the admin tool that actually is still already open. In the admin tool in System, Watermarks. Okay, now these are all the ones that I've currently got set up. You can see here in the comments field, this is what I've labeled them as. So these are documents that are post-release. These are documents that are pre-release. So I've got two types of watermarking for documents. And then I have individual watermarking for drawings at each different status. And if we look in the second column, we can see their work in progress, under review, superseded, etc. Okay, so let's pick on the pre-released documents. If I double click to go into edit mode, or if I cancel and say right click, edit the watermark. Now, many customers, the default for watermarks will have been delivered as a JPEG image. The JPEG image will be displayed in this white area, and you have the ability to clear the watermark image. So we used to do watermarks as an overlaid JPEG. I don't use JPEGs anymore because I'd rather have an intelligently configured watermark that I'm in more control of. So if you have imaged based or JPEG imaged based watermarks, you can clear the image and then apply your own PDF watermark text. Okay, so before we get into that, we've got the ability to say what status is this applying to. So my pre-released states are obsolete, superseded, under review, checked, and work in progress. You can also apply watermarks by file type if you want to as well. So if you have a specific requirement against a particular document type, you can. If your watermark is an image based, you can specify the XY coordinates for the image to appear on your document or drawing. Okay, you can choose by document size. In this instance, I've selected all drawing sizes. Now, I've chosen all drawing sizes because all of my drawings have a consistent title block on the drawing in the bottom right hand corner, and therefore I can apply all of my watermarks regardless of drawing size. If your drawings for, you know, A4, A3, A2, etc., landscape, portrait, etc., have different positions for all of the title blocks, then you may need to configure more watermarks to suit that. Okay. We see here that this is only for documents, not for documents and drawings. There's also the ability to put edit prevention and put a password on PDFs as well. Okay, it's just a demonstration database, so I don't apply that, but it pretty much should be very straightforward. Okay, so the actual watermark itself, if I click onto this tab in the left-hand frame, I currently have 3 different watermarks configured. The first one, I'm going to go from the, I'll go from the top down. So for my documents, this is the watermark that appears at the bottom of the document. If I go back here and look at this, it's the watermark that's running across the bottom of my document. Okay, what is the document number, the issue, and the status? So I've typed in the word document, followed it by a colon, space, and then what you can do is if I remove this, you can do a right click at this point and add intelligent text directly from the database. So I want to add intelligent text. I'm going to full screen because what I'm looking for is the item number. When I select this, it will choose the item number from the database. In addition to this, I want to know the issue, and that is the name of the attribute, and I want the status. So you can see the syntax for applying this. You could type it in longhand if you know the names of the attributes, or you just choose, I want intelligent text. Okay, you choose a horizontal position from the left-hand side, a vertical position from the baseline, and if you wanted this to be from the right-hand side, you would put this as a negative from the right. So quite an important thing that isn't particularly documented in here, but if you want an X position from the right, then you would put that in as a minus figure. Okay, so I want it 18 pixels in from the left-hand side, and I want it 12.5 pixels from the base in the vertical. You can set the text on an angle, you can set the font size, the line spacing, the color of the font, and which font you want to use. Now, these are the only fonts available because these are the default Windows fonts that are always there. Okay, so at the moment we don't allow you to apply all sorts of different fonts. It is only fixed to these fonts. Now, I'm not going to apply any additional conditions here. We're just going to keep this as it is. So I'm going to come out of here. The next watermark is the one that goes up the left-hand side, which is printed or exported on the current date and time by email address of the user. So if I just click in here to look at the intelligent text options, in here we could say the user ID, the user initials, drawn by name, email address, the date, time, etc. All of the attributes and also all of the status changes as well. So all of these attributes are in here. If I cancel that, and by the way, this one has been set to an angle of 90 degrees because it runs up the left-hand side of the document. The status is just the current status. Okay. When we look at drawings, there's some additional information that I apply. Okay, so they are the watermarks for my pre-released documents. If I close out of here, sorry, cancel, they're the pre-released, and these are the post-released. Because these ones, I don't want it running diagonally across the screen. Okay, but the same method for building them. If you want another watermark, you right-click in the space, add watermark, and you build the watermark. Okay. In the case of a drawing, if a drawing is work in progress, I've said drawings only for the status of work in progress, and then the text watermark gives me the status, an additional piece of text here, do not use. So if I pick a work in progress drawing and I go over to here, work in progress, do not use. So I've got two pieces of text-based watermarking here, and we know it's text because if I go to the select tool, I can select the text. Okay. Now, let's go back to the admin tool because I want to look at a released drawing. So, status released, only for drawings, all sizes. And if I go to my watermarks, I've got lots of things in here. And the reason there are lots of them is because if I look at a released drawing and I just scroll over, we see here on the title block, we've got the status, a comment on the status, and we know who checked it, who released it, and what the dates were. So let's look at how we apply that. If I look here, released by date. So I put a little comment in here to remind me of what it is. And the intelligent text is the state date for released. So if we look at the intelligent text options in here, we've got for where are we? Review, released. So state user ID released, state user drawn by name. So for each different status, we can have the user ID, the drawn by name, the email address, the date and time, time only, and comments. So for each of the states, there are a series of intelligent attributes available, and that's what makes it possible to apply that information intelligently in the drawing frame as I'm showing you here. Okay, and I only apply it when it's released, because when it's checked and hasn't been released, it will only show you who checked. Okay, so that's how to configure. Let me go back to my workshop. So we'll just drag this back. Actions. So we've covered how to set up watermarks. And the next one is just to show you how to apply a condition, an additional condition to a watermark, because watermarks are based on status. Okay, but if we go back to our list of examples, you see here that I've got a drawing here that I've set as not recommended. Okay, and as it's not recommended, I've applied a watermark, or I've removed a watermark. Now I should make this work in the opposite direction, because if it's not recommended, it should put something across the drawing to say this is not recommended. So let me fix what I've incorrectly done. For a drawing that is released, go to my watermarks, and I have an additional watermark here that says this is a recommended drawing. Well, I'm going to change that and say this is what would English, the correct English? This drawing is not recommended. This drawing is not recommended. Do not use. Okay. Whoops. So this is the text that I want. It's based on the released status of a drawing, but as you can see in the bottom area, I've added an additional condition to say if the recommended attribute, so these are all of the attributes available against drawings, you can do the same for documents. If the recommended attribute equals no, I want you to apply this additional watermark. So it will add additional watermarks subject to a condition being met as a yes. Okay, so because I've changed that as a yes, if I confirm that and I now go back and look at my example drawing, I now have this drawing is not recommended, do not use. Now it doesn't quite fit in the right place, so I might want to reposition that. So while we are here, I'll just go to released watermarks. This watermark, I'm going to pull it back and bring it in 80 from the side, and maybe we'll just run it up at a slight angle of 20 degrees and say OK. And we go back. If I click away and click back, we see that I've now added a watermark. This drawing is not recommended for use. So it is useful because your drawing might be the latest issue and it might be released, but it might not be recommended for use, or some other condition that you may want to apply, or a comment or a note. So they're the examples I wanted to show. I'm going to go back to my my workshop project here, bring my preview back so I can look at the actions, and this was setting up attribute conditions against watermarks.